Morning. Fueling. I'm going to be dragging my butt, I think, a little bit today. It was pretty late night. Last 3 nights have been pretty late here. They're calling for some snow here in the next few days, which is obviously going to be welcome moisture, but at the same time, you're just never ready for winter. Never ready to finish field work. It's one of those things. You can never be ready enough, right? But here we are, we're doing it. It's a big push today, and we've got several people and several different things going on with the farm. We're going to be disking, aerating, pressure washing, and we're still hauling silage. So there's lots going on. Today's going to be a busy day. Hopefully be an exciting video for you guys. Thanks for watching. So here I am talking about all this exciting field work and stuff we got going on here, but I forgot to, or neglected to tell you why we're so tired. The most important thing we've ever done on the farm has been happening for the last several nights between the hours of 8 p.m. and 2 p.m. No, 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. Any guesses what's so important? It's not what you think. Invoicing. Been trying to get caught up. I gave myself a goal. I'm going to get completely caught up on invoicing here this week. So that's been, after my daughter goes to bed, something that's been kind of keeping me up late here the last few nights, let alone hauling. We've been shutting down the hauling at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So we have another load already on the truck here this morning from last night. So all we got to do is drop that one off and then go pick up the last of some bales that are in a field and move the telehandler over to the next field and keep going on that. But in the meantime, this aerator hasn't even been used yet, hasn't turned a wheel. So we're just gonna give everything one last look, give the tractor some fuel, which we just finished, and some grease, and we're off. So let the day begin. Holy, it is 11 o'clock in the morning, and we started prepping for this morning last night. Before I got into the office and working on invoicing, I was working on getting aerators hooked up and just getting some things done for today. And all I left was greasing, and that delayed us. So some of you other farmers out there, greasing is one of them things. I tried to do it at the end of the day, but I just ran out of time last night. But greasing is one of them things. It could be the simplest implement, easiest to get to spots, and something silly happens. You'll break a grease nipple off, or your grease gun will get airlocked. Our favorite grease gun is one of those Milwaukee 18-volt grease guns, and it never skips a beat. It never gets airlocked. And this morning, it wasn't anywhere close to us. It was in a truck that wasn't near the shop, so didn't have access to it, and we struggled and struggled and struggled to get a couple things on the JCB greased. We actually had this aerator hooked up to the John Deere, and we were going to use that today, but one thing leads to another, and there's snow coming, and we had to put the cutters on the 3-point hitch of the John Deere so that we could wash up the cutters and try and get that done while it's still warm out. Never fails. It's always something. Those grease guns delayed us by at least an hour this morning. We had 2 hand pumping grease guns. What a tremendous amount of grief. I can't even start to say how frustrated I am right now. That was absolutely brutal. You know, in the movie Dumb and Dumber, when Jim Carrey, he asks his blonde partner there, he's like, "Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?"
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Guys!
Oh, I was pretty close to making some noises like that this morning. I couldn't believe how much grief something so simple as a grease gun could cause and delay us. I even, like I say, stayed out last night a bit later than I wanted to try and get this done before I buried myself in the office, and it still tested us, but we can smile now because we are going aerating. Lunchtime. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thanks. What? Hot eats, cool treats. Pretty hard not to get a blizzard or a dipped cone when you stop at Dairy Queen, but hopefully my mom's not watching. I'm eating dessert before my meal. Dessert before lunch? Does that make that okay? Don't tell Mom. Well, she's not new no more. It is working well. The blades are starting to get polished up, as you can see. The first few headlands around the field, there was some dirt sticking to the blades and the drum a little bit, but that was only because we got a couple tenths of rain the other day, but then the blades had powder coat on them. So obviously a little more sticky, but now that it's getting polished up, it's not sticking at all and working good so far. We've run quite a few of these aerators before, but never this size. This is a 19 by 36 model SB built by RanchWorx. And this is a new size. This is actually the first one in Canada that we're getting the pleasure of playing with here. But now that it's dirty, I guess we own it. So pretty interesting though. We were planning on pulling it with the John Deere today, and that fell apart because of a couple things. But also we thought we have very limited time to get this field done today. There's a rain coming tomorrow, so we wanted to get this done before the rain. So we were in a little bit of a rush, and so because the John Deere was needed somewhere else, we thought, okay, well, we'll be able to probably get a bit more work done here as well today. These are an implement that like driving fast, and they're rated up to 11 mile an hour. So right now we're doing 10 mile an hour. There's the odd bumpy spot, but 10 mile an hour is pretty achievable in the JCB without rattling your head apart or your chiclets out. But at 11 mile an hour, we're a little more comfortable in here than the John Deere. Even though that John Deere has the front TLS suspension, this is maybe a little more comfortable of a ride with four-wheel chassis suspension. So you know what, the fact we're not in the John Deere today is okay, and it's probably working out for a little bit of the better. We know that with this hooked behind the JCB today, that we're for sure going to get done. So if any of you guys are curious about fuel economy here, we're running about 18-19 liters per hour out of the JCB, which is a 240 horsepower machine. So you know, we're running at probably 45% engine load. So this is maybe a bit overkill today to pull this aerator. The John Deere 7710 would have been maybe a little bit better match because it had 155 horsepower. But so as much as this is a little overkill, you know what, we're probably going to get done a little bit faster just because we can carry some better ground speeds. So, and that fuel mileage isn't bad for a little excessive horsepower that we're going to use. We're just sipping on the fuel today, so all good things. Well, there's definitely a little bit of stick in here on the outside where the blades were starting to get polished. Now that they're now that they're getting polished, there's not as much sticking. So again, if we had more options with timing on this, we probably would have waited another day or two. But this field's a bit of a unique situation where we're actually aerating this for a different reason than in hay. This is very old hay ground. This has probably been in grass for 45 years. And we sprayed it out this year, and we grew a cover crop in it because it was so dry, and we just used oats because they were cheap, and planted oats in here to just keep some soil cover. There wasn't enough moisture to grow anything else of a crop of any value. So just to give the soil some rest, we fertilized it just to give the oat cover crop a chance, and just keep some carbon in the soil. So we no-till drilled some oats into this, and now we're going to, or actually sprayed it out and then no-till drilled some oats into this. And now that it's had a chance to sit for a year, it wasn't quite a summer follow project, but more of a cover crop project, that the aerator is going to help alleviate this compaction and the sod layer that's here, and just help it breathe over winter. So here we go. Let me know what you guys think about this soil aerator stuff. We've had messages and a lot of people reach out to us actually in the past, even prior to the YouTube channel, wanting some content on this kind of stuff, because we aerate probably more in this area than most guys do. So we obviously get a lot of questions about that. So let us know in the comments if this is something you want to see more of. We can get pretty technical into it and don't want to bore you guys. I want to try and keep these as entertaining as possible, but you know, there's so much information out there about soil health. If you can get rid of your compaction, I'm just carrying this rod here, and on an area where I couldn't push this rod into the ground, so I pushed this rod into about there where I hit a layer hard pan. You know, that's 6 inches about, and then where we push in at an aerating incision, as you can see, I haven't moved my index finger yet, and that is not even where it'll continue to go. So I'll move my hand back up, and I continue to push, and I continue to push. It's kind of a magic trick. When guys are talking about soil health and why we aerate, look at the compaction here. So that rod went down that much further in an area where we aerated versus didn't aerate. We're up alongside the road now, and there's a lot of wind and a lot of road noise. So not sure how well this mic works on here, if it eliminates a bunch of that, but I'll just duck out of the wind here while we watch that aerator turn here for a bit. But maybe just describe to you again why we're doing this to this field. So a friend of ours unfortunately passed away, and I really wish he was still here. We had a lot more time to spend together, but this was one of the fields he actually rented. And him and I had a reclamation and rejuvenation plan in place, and we'd been working on it already for about 1.5 years. And then unfortunately he passed away. And as much as I feel obviously it's bad for that situation, I really wish he was still here renting this land. After he passed away, we worked with his family, and we slowly transitioned into us renting out this piece. And I wish that wasn't so. I wish I wasn't here. I wish I wasn't telling you guys this, because I wish my friend Frank here was still here, and this was still his project, not mine. But anyway, so what we've done here is we have sprayed out an old hay crop. This was a 40 to 45 year old field that was in need of some help. What we decided to do was start with a no-till rotation on it. As much as we wanted to do that no-till rotation, we've been in a drought, and this field is quite rough. No-till can be rough for the first year, and this field it was used as a pasture as well as a hayfield. So it's seen some wear and tear, and it's a bit rougher than we'd want it. So what we did is, obviously because of the situation on this field changing hands, we no-tilled a cover crop into it. We no-tilled oats into it just for the summer and then had them grazed off. So what we did is we sprayed out the field to get rid of the quack grass and a few of the undesirable weeds that were in the field, and then we no-tilled oats into the crop, or into the stand. And we were so dry this year, those oats didn't start growing until about the 3rd week of August. So we seeded them the 2nd week of June. Typically oats are pretty vigorous, and they'll germinate and they'll come out within a couple weeks at most. But there was just no groundwater to allow them seeds to germinate. So this field didn't do a whole lot for the first half of the summer, and then or the first 3/4 of the summer. And then by about the 3rd week of August, we got a couple rains. We got about an inch and a half, or 1.6 inches of rain, and this field took off. So it just had a very hint of green fuzz in it throughout the summer during that heat spell. But now look at that field here. These oats have already been grazed off. They didn't grow all summer, and they've been grazed, and now look at them come back. You know, we threw a product called Super KNS, a fertilizer product from Replenish Nutrients, on this field when we very first took it on. That was the first thing we did when we sprayed it, as we threw that Super KNS on. And here it is. We've had a few frosts, and these oats are still coming. You can see all the rows perfectly, and obviously that's going to give us some real good cover here for the winter. However, we have a little bit of a trick up our sleeve, and we were dying to play with this aerator. This field has a lot of quack grass and sod forming varieties of grass in it, so it was pretty tight on the surface, and that's why it didn't absorb enough water throughout the summer in order to germinate. So what we did is, or what we're doing is, it's been sprayed, it had a cover crop in it for the summer, and now we're aerating it, and we're going to be dragging a disc over it as well. We're going to be kind of going lighter with the disc so that we don't have to completely turn all the sod. We're still going to approach this with a minimal till, and so today we're hustling to try and get that aerator over all these acres, and we have another tractor coming in with a tandem offset disc. I believe it's a Sunflower, hooked up to that one, about 24 feet wide, and so I'll try and get some content to that. I am heading out to haul silage, so I'm the only guy on the camera today, so hopefully we can still get some content of the disking, or that disc chasing that aerator. That disc is on his way here right now, so the aerator's frantically trying to get ahead of it. Again, sprayed it out, threw some oats in it as a cover crop, fertilized it, and now we're going to aerate it to kind of alleviate all that sod and root bound tendency and allow it to breathe, and we're going to now scrape the top of it with a disc. So this field, after a heavy harrow pass next spring, is going to be seed ready and ready to go. Wow, guys. Look at that fall triticale coming up. Oh, that makes me excited. I absolutely love when a crop first comes out of the ground. That has to be probably one of the most satisfying things I do in my job, or that I like about my job, is watching a crop come out of the ground. There it is. Last load of silage from this field. That's exciting, guys. There's always a lot of satisfaction when you can finish up hauling a stack of hay or silage or whatever product. But just when a project's coming to an end, that's a nice sight. That last load of silage bales off of this field for 2023 is actually the last thing this whole property is gonna need from David and friends. This field's already been cultivated, prepped, sprayed, and seeded to triticale, which I am just amazed. We got a couple showers of rain here, and I could not be happier. That's one of my favoriteest things to see as a farmer, is when the crop first starts coming out of the ground. We planted some fall triticale here, and this is the first time in my farming career growing that product, and I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but just couldn't do it with the equipment we had. But now with that silage baler, we can do it, and we're doing it. So here we are, last load of silage. Well, last load of silage. That's exciting, but even more so is this crop. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever grown fall triticale, or we've grown fall triticale. And take a look at this field. We got what I would think is textbook perfect emergence out of this crop. And for being so dry, I know we've had an inch of rain in the last couple weeks, which was very timely for this crop. But take a look at this. That is quite a sight. And the view's good too. As busy as we are right now, sometimes you just gotta take it in. We're working some beautiful land. Great landlords and neighbors and everyone around us is great. Sometimes you just gotta look around and take it in. Couldn't be happier with this crop. We had a herd of elk, actually, 21 of them come into this field and hang out here for a couple nights. So I'm not sure if that's gonna permanently hurt the triticale, the fall triticale. I hope it doesn't, but there's always a chance. But you know, we live in the hills. There's a lot of wildlife here. Sometimes in the prairies, you know, you have a few deer and things that come in, but in our area, the deer, they're manageable, but the elk, we get a lot of Rocky Mountain elk that travel through here. There's thousands of them in the area, and they come in, and if they got into a haystack, they could demolish a couple hundred bales in a couple days if you weren't keeping an eye or keeping them off the stack. Well, as much as I'd like to continue taking it all in, we got to get back to work. Last load of silage for this field. Look at that. Best wife in the world. Just delivered burritos to the field. Last load out of this goat trail, and we're done here for the year. One more look at that beautiful triticale. This is probably the most expensive Uber Eats delivery of all time for that guy right there. Come get your burrito. Like I say, my wife was the all-star for the win, dropping off supper today. And I was just driving by with this last load of silage for the day. I might as well drop off the burrito. What a day. I can't stop thinking about that darn grease gun this morning and how much aggravation that little bugger caused. As silly as it is, and how many irons we had in the fire today with how many pieces of equipment and tasks and everything that was going on, and the grease gun was the crutch of the day. So you know what, I'll count that as a win, because let's face it, if that's the worst thing that happened, that's just fine. I'll deal with that all day long. Unfortunately, it did maybe set us back for an hour here this morning, but you know what, we made up for it now. It's getting close to 11 o'clock. Our friend Ben here is going to run the night shift on the disc. Thank you very much, Ben, for putting in a long day. We got done almost everything that we needed to do. Sorry, we would have liked to have maybe got a little bit more silage hauled, but you know, we had to switch fields, move the telehandler, and switch some stuff around, and it was crazy windy this afternoon, so throwing straps and dealing with all that plastic in the wind was a bit aggravating, but anyway, we got through it. So now we're moving fields, and there's gonna be lots happening again tomorrow, so very thankful. Today went very well. Today was one of the busiest days we've had here in a little while. So we had a lot going on. We had the final assembly and lubrication, getting that aerator ready to go. We had getting it over to the field, getting this field aerated. It's a quarter section, summer fallow / cover crop situation going on here. So we had aerating going on and getting that new piece of equipment fired up, and then we had disking going on, and we had the pressure washing and the cleanup happening, because we're going to start parking some equipment here for the winter. that's already been serviced just needed to be cleaned up. And on top of that, we were hauling silage. So you know what, today was a big win. We got a lot done. Very thankful for that. Thank you guys for watching. I know we were a bit scattered. We couldn't have enough cameras around today to capture everything, but hopefully you guys like or subscribe. You can let us know if we've been doing a good job or not. We'd love to do more of this, and we wouldn't be here and doing this without your guys' support. So thank you very much, and have a good night. I desperately need to get asleep.